Welcome to week 3. My name is David Linz. I'm the Director of Faith Formation here at Our Lady of Joy and Carefree. This is your Lenten retreat. I want to start this week by telling you a little story about growing up in South Milwaukee, Wisconsin, or as the locals call it, South Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I was at my friend Brad's house. It was I guess 2 blocks away. I was a little tyke. I don't remember the grade exactly, but at some point, Brad's mom came over to me and said, "David, you better get home. It looks like a storm's coming." And storms right off the lake would roll in with ferocity. So I basically got myself all bundled up, many layers. You know, a little kid with so many layers, he can't put his arms down, basically. And I started to waddle home. And the wind was picking up rapidly as I made my way down the first block. Well, then it started to rain. This wasn't good because I'm pretty sure my gear was not rainproof. So now I'm starting to get heavy and I'm still trying to waddle. And the wind is blowing really hard. I turn the corner and I keep waddling, but now I'm trying to waddle a little bit faster. And the wind is picking up and the rain is starting to come down and now I'm hearing rumblings. This is a thunderstorm, my friends. I turn the corner to get the last little half block to my house when the thunder just explodes into lightning all around me. I waddle as fast as I can, but I'm afraid that if I fall onto my back, I'm never going to get up again. I'm going to be like one of those turtles on its back. So instead, I look and I see in Grandma Hatzenbeller's front yard, she lived next door to us, her house came first and then ours, a huge, huge tree. And I thought, if I can get to that tree, I'm going to be safe because I saw no rain was getting through its heavy canopy and its trunk was so wide that the wind wasn't blowing it back and forth so I wouldn't get blown over. So I turned and I waddled onto her front yard as fast as I could and I gripped onto the bottom of that tree and I held on to it while thunder and lightning was raging all around me. Now, those of you who know how lightning works with trees, you're understanding the danger here. In the midst of all of this, I hear, "Get away from that tree!" Like, this thunderstorm is making crazy noises, but, that's possible. All the rain pounding against the canopy of the tree, the wind whistling, the thunder rumbling, everything happening all at once. I hear it again, "Get away from that tree!" And I look and I see the most amazing sight in the middle of this thunderstorm. Grandma Hatzenbeller, essentially in her moo-moo, running across the front lawn from her front door to me like a track star in the Olympics. And I see something in her eyes. It's saying, "Let go of that tree." Now, in my little mind, I didn't understand why in the world you would do such a thing, but I listened. And I did the scary thing, and I let go of that tree, and I turned, and I started to waddle towards her. I made it about 2 steps before she picked me up under her arm, turned, ran back. In my memory, she just launched herself up all the steps, through the front door, flung me onto the couch, and in one swoop had hot chocolate in my hand and was calling my mom next door. Basically telling my mom she needed to teach me a little bit better about trees and thunderstorms. In the storms of life, we all have a tendency to run towards things that are dangerous. We try to make it through the storms in ways that aren't so smart in retrospect. For some of us, it's distraction. Life is hard right now, so I'm just going to distract myself with Netflix or, movies or whatever it is for us. Some of us instead turn back to our addictions. It could be alcohol, it could be drugs, it could be any number of things. And finally, some of us turn to inappropriate relationships. We look for something or someone to tell us everything's going to be all right. And oftentimes it's the wrong person. It's the wrong place that we get that from. Or we turn to something that's all 3 of the above. Social media. Now, before I explain how social media is all three of those negatives, I'm going to tell you there are some positives to social media as well. For example, I grew up in South Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and now I live in your neck of the woods, or your neck of the cacti. I don't know. But I live down here in the Arizona desert. And social media has helped me connect with so many people back home. It's a good thing for that. I'm also part of a group called Buy Nothing Tempe, where we're able to go on and say, hey, you know, I've got this thing that I can get rid of, and I don't even really want to sell it. I just want to give it to somebody who could use it. And vice versa. We got a little trainer bike for Georgiana that way, through that group, for free. That would have cost hundreds of dollars. And we've given a lot of things away in that group as well. So social media can do good things. But now back to those three things we turn to in the midst of storms in our life, right? Distraction. Well, let's talk about distraction with social media. I call it the Dead Eye Scrolls, as opposed to the Dead Sea Scrolls. You know the look. You got the phone and you're just like, what you looking at? Nothing. You know, so many of us do that with social media. Addiction. I'm not addicted to social media. Oh, really? What's the first thing that you do in the morning and the last thing you do at night? What's the first thing that you look at as soon as you're all by yourself? Now, if that was alcohol, would you call that an addiction? If that was a drug, would you call it an addiction? And finally, inappropriate relationships. So many of us run to social media when we're feeling down, to feel affirmed. You know, I thought of something funny, I'm going to put it on social media, and then every 5 minutes for the next hour, I'm going to check and see if anybody liked it, if anybody hearted it, if anybody thought I was funny. Or I'm going to put this story that's really heartfelt on social media, and then I'm just going to keep checking back and see if anybody cares. Yeah. Here's the thing about social media. It can turn around and bite us because we go on there and everybody just looks so shiny and perfect. Their lives are wonderful. There's no flaws. You know, their cars never break down and their children never wake up screaming at 3 o'clock in the morning. And they're always there. It's always the good side of their face. I don't necessarily have a good side, so I don't know what to do for that one. But that's what you see, right, when you look at social media. You don't see the truth. You don't see the vulnerability. You don't see all of the scars and the hurts and the insecurities and the issues. At least not most of the time. So what we need to have when it comes to social media is sober gratitude for our lives. A realistic look in the mirror that, you know what, our lives are flawed and they're scarred, and yet some of that is what gives it its beauty. I thank the Lord for a lot of my scars because they've helped me become who I am to this day. Some of my biggest wounds and hurts that I've ever had. And a lot of you know the different things that I've gone through because I've shared them with you in the past. But they've helped me be more sympathetic, have more empathy, care a little bit deeper, and also avoid really dumb things that some people say with a good heart when other people are hurting. What I want to encourage you to do is to take a look at, I believe it's Psalm 118, and it says, "This is the day which the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it." Focus on that gratitude. Wake up. I'm excited for today. What do you have for me today, Lord? And dive into it. And when the storms of life hit, don't run for the trees. Don't cling onto the things that are lightning rods for danger, like distraction, addiction, and inappropriate relationships. You're probably already ahead of me, and you can guess where I'm going to say you need to go when the storms of life hit, right? The rock that doesn't move. But we'll talk more about that in coming weeks. For now, I just want to encourage you, if you're on social media, use it for good. Use it to connect with people who are far away. Use it to post upbuilding things, things that glorify your faith and gratitude, you know? That's what we should be using it for. Help one another through social media, if you're on it. Next week, we're going to move from the things that we've been exposing our soul to over the last 2 weeks to our interior, our interior selves. Easy for me to say. I look forward to seeing you in week 4. God bless you, and God bless your Lent.